Hello dear ones, beloved Fierce Tribe. Lisa Smith and I are here at LAX airport. We are, well, I'm closer to home than Lisa is, but we are well and truly on our way home, and we have had such a kind of joyfully full-on time at the Science and Spirituality Conference that you may have noticed that our 2 live posts sort of stopped, and that's pretty much because I think we got tired, really, and not tired of what we were doing, but absolutely wrapped up in what we were doing. There's a lot of live announcements here at LAX, so if I bring this very close to my face, it's just because I want you to hear me and not them, so if it looks a bit weird, please forgive me. So we won't make this terribly long because we do have those announcements happening, but we do want to take this opportunity because we don't have much more time together in the same place, and we think by the time we arrive in Melbourne in about 14 days time, no, do not put that out there in the universe, Ricky, that there's a good chance that we will not have the brain capacity to speak clearly about our experiences. So I just wanted to begin, so we'll make it more of a me and then Lisa, because we're trying to get this all out before the announcements keep rolling. We just want to share, I guess, what after a full day with Greg, a full day with Joe, lots of mini presentations from both of them, plus Bruce Lipton, plus Lynn McTaggart, plus a little bit from Cryon, that there's just a lot of amazing things that we could share with you, but we'll probably continue to do that separately over the coming weeks because I think it'll take us time to integrate everything. But really, I think in particular what I'm excited about, there's actually 2 things. I want to talk a little bit to the work of Lynn McTaggart. I know that Lisa's going to speak about Bruce Lipton, and the bigger picture of the idea of what in my language I would call co-creative intuition versus visionary intuition. And so this came up a lot with Lynn McTaggart's work and Joe's work as well, which is both of them are very much about what we are capable of producing by tuning into the field, recognizing that we're quantum in nature, changing our vibration to match that quantum truth, and bringing forward into our lives a new potential from the field. And to put that in my language, we would talk about the field being the mind of God, and that all exists in the mind of God, and we are part of that mind, so of course we can tune into anything from there. But I really kind of was struggling to reconcile, how does that work? How does divine will, thy will be done, versus personal will, I want a new Ferrari, I want full health, I want this, I want that, the I want versus the path of sacred service, which is much more about I give my life to the infinite within me, use me, that statement of the visionary intuition, which is where my heart is. And so I spent the week really trying to understand what is the intersection of those 2 things, and how do we do surrender at the same time that we're constructing reality? Because really what Joe's saying is that if you're not building your new future, you are romancing your past, and that is a real challenge in some ways to the idea of surrendering to divine will. How do we kind of reconcile those things? And so I think for me what I've come to understand is that the relationship that we have with the mind of God, or the field, as to use the language that we were hearing a lot this week, is that it is not actually a one-way communication where we bark orders at the field and the field just obligingly drops these things in our lap, but in fact it's a communication. And I say this, I've written about this in the book. It's the law of correspondence is a communication hotline, that the field or God is always talking to us, and that's what intuition is. Intuition is being willing to hear the communion that has always been occurring, and to be unafraid of what that might mean for your life, because the reason that we often try to create things out of the field is actually in an attempt to control. And Joe actually was very good at explaining that until you step into the feelings of unknown, until you get uncomfortable, you're actually just trying to predict and control, which just means that you're running the program of the past. So it's in fact, the truth of it is that it is about stepping into the unknown, getting uncomfortable, and that discomfort is a really good sign that neurologically, physiologically, hormonally, chemically, that spiritually, that you're changing and that your life will change as a result. So I feel like I'm rambling a little bit, but I want to bring it back to the intersection of divine will and personal will, and that what I believe is that if we think of it as a communication hotline between us and the infinite, is the sound stopping and starting? If anyone else is having that problem, can you let me know, because we won't continue if that is the case. It may be the internet connection, but just if someone else can confirm if there's a problem with sound, other than the lovely announcements that keep happening, I won't continue unless if it's going on like this. So
Passengers are reminded that they are permitted
the idea is that inspiration or intuition is how you let the infinite speak to you. Oh good, it's working for Nicole Geeta. So, oh no, Kim can't hear. Oh my goodness. All right, well, some people can hear and some people can't. So I'm just going to keep going. So the idea that the inspiration, where we are guided by the infinite to that which we desire, is the fastest way to line up with our highest path, and that it is a communication hotline. It is a two-way communication. So it's not just about us barking orders at the field. It's about us being willing to hear what the infinite or God has in mind for us. And I want to share a teeny tiny example of this for you. Last night I was looking at my travel documents for this trip that's coming up, and every time I looked at it I saw the word business class. Now I'm traveling economy, so that didn't make any sense, and it was late and I was tired. I looked at that a number of times, and every time I looked at it I heard or saw the word business like written there, and then I'd look again because that made no sense to me, and it would be economy, which is what I'm traveling. And I didn't understand what it was, and I literally forgot about it. And then as I was boarding my flight today from Vancouver to LA, which is a 3-hour flight, as I was boarding, the flight attendant, the ground crew, gave me a new boarding pass, which I thought was curious. I was waiting for Lisa, and I looked down at it, and it said business class. And there was no reason for it. You know, I haven't done anything. I don't know why. I wasn't intending it. I wasn't saying to the universe, make me travel business class. I really want to travel business class. This will be the highest good for my life. Bring it to me, infinite one mind of God. I had no communication with it. I had no connection to it, I should say. And yet when I looked at my travel documents, it was telling me that this was going to happen, and indeed it did. And I think that was a beautiful example of yes, we are the manifestors of our life, but the way we manifest our life most powerfully is aligning with the vibration or frequency of the God consciousness, the one mind. And when we do that, everything falls into place. The challenge or the opportunity we have is not to say no when inspiration hits us, not to doubt, because that doubt will be the fastest way to undo the miracles that God is trying to bring us. Okay, I think that made some sense. I'm going to pass over to Lisa now.
Can you say two things, or the?
Oh, and the final thing. No, I'll let Lisa speak, and then I'll tell you about Lena.
Oh, Lynn, okay. Hi, everyone. Oh, she's just thrown me. I'm just going to sit back in this corner so that I'm a little bit, no one behind me. Yeah, here we are, LAX. Feeling good, much better this time at LAX than the last time we came through here. And yeah, what I realised is we didn't get a chance to talk too much about the delicious Bruce Lipton's presentation. We only saw a couple of hours of him. We were a bit exhausted to try and get back there in the evening to see the rest, but he is a phenomenal man. Hi Nicole. If you can ever get to see him or find any of his work online, in terms of the science, he is a phenomenal person. He has been around for a long time, and in fact the work he did in the very early days on cells and how they what you would become is determined by your environment, and he did work on that long time ago, before epigenetics was even worked on. He created cells in the lab, and he put 3 identical cells in 3 dishes, and then he multiplied them so that the whole petri dish was full of cells that were identical, and then he put different mediums into each of the 3 cells. And what happened was, dependent on the medium, which is the equivalent of our environment, that's what determined what the cell became. Meaning one of them became muscle cell, one became neural tissue, I think it was, and one became blood or something like that. But 3 separate mediums, culture mediums, 3 separate environments, 3 separate cells at the end of it. So what he basically, he then had to put that work away, because they basically said to him, well, we're not working on this doesn't make sense. And that's what has since come out. And if we extrapolate that up from the micro level of the cell up to the more macro level of us as humans, it doesn't change. It is our environment that determines who we are and how we represent ourselves and put ourselves out there into this world. Sorry, what? Oh, sorry.
The really powerful point of that story was not the culture medium. The culture medium wasn't important. What matters is that the cells knew what to grow into, whether it was a muscle cell or whether it was a different kind of cell. The cells were responding to a field, an invisible field. That was the point of that story, is that the field was informing the cell as what it was going to turn into. And that was astonishing, because at that time there was no conversation about a quantum field that was happening at that level of science anyway. He was in a medical school at the University of Wisconsin, and it was the idea that how did the cells know what to do without a body to instruct them, and how did each cell that had come from the same petri dish grow into different things? I think that was the really powerful part of that.
Okay, she's gone again. She's back. She'll be back again. So that's what's important for us to understand as well, is that we are being constantly informed by the field around us, which is our environment, which is our the quantum field, and that is what is informing us. And I keep coming back to the words we are quantum whenever I begin to feel caught up in any little, the old subconscious, playing its game with me, the ego, we're heading home and all of the stuff that can start to come up. And if I just remind myself, I am quantum, it's almost like a lullaby, and it's almost like it lulls you into a sense of relaxation around it. And, it's really interesting, because Albert Einstein actually was known to say that the field is the sole governing agency of the particle. So the particle, when you break it right down to a minute level, the particle is just energy. It is pure energy, vibrating matter. It has a positive and a negative end, and it vibrates backwards and forwards, and that's what creates the wave, and that's what creates the message out and back in, and how the field interacts with us from the quantum, basically. So I think there's lots of wonderful stuff. Bruce had this ability to take us right back down to the cellular level and anatomically, and then bring it right back up to the whole being, and just show us all along the way how the way we see ourselves is not actually accurate. It's not who we actually are. He has a very strong bent on and an opinion on medicine and how we treat ourselves and all that sort of thing. And he just shared it all in such a way that was just so, other than being gloriously joyous, was also so informative, and you just sort of sat there and went, of course that's how we are. It was super powerful from that point of view. Look, there is so much more, and I will be back to share more as time goes by. Was there something else I wanted to say today? I think that's probably all for now. I think Ricky wants to say something else. No, she'll talk about it later, because the noise is a little bit distracting. It's a bit hard to stay focused. So we'll be back later, and look forward to seeing you. Lots of love.